Hello, my sweet summer children. I'm back with some juice to get you through the long night. So, I get into these debates a lot about Arya. I feel like a lot of people don't like Arya, and that just baffles me beyond belief. So, what I think is happening is that Arya is misunderstood. There's a lot of Game of Thrones characters that are misunderstood. I think I'm going to do a whole series on characters that I feel are misunderstood. And I'm going to start with my favorite, Arya of House Stark. A lot of comments that I see about Arya are that she's mean and ruthless and she doesn't care about anyone and she's a homicidal maniac. Well, how would you be if you've been through everything she's been through? For half a heartbeat, she let herself pretend that it was her home ahead. But that was stupid. Her home was gone, her parents dead, and all her brothers slain but Jon Snow on the wall. That was where she wanted to go. She told the captain as much, but even the iron coin did not sway him. Arya never seemed to find the places she set out to reach. Yoren had sworn to deliver her to Winterfell, only she had ended up in Harrenhal and Yoren in his grave. When she escaped Harrenhal for Riverrun, Lem and Anguy and Tommo Sevens took her captive and dragged her to the Hollow Hill instead. Then the Hound had stolen her and dragged her to the Twins. Arya had left him dying by the river and gone ahead to Salt Pans, hoping to take passage for Eastwatch by the sea. Only, Braavos might not be so bad. Syrio was from Braavos, and Jaqen might be there as well. It was Jaqen who had given her the iron coin. He hadn't truly been her friend the way that Syrio had, but what good has friends ever done her? I don't need any friends, so long as I have Needle. Throughout Arya's story, it's been one tragedy after another. As soon as the story opens up, she feels almost an outcast among everyone that she knows. Sansa constantly mocks her and ridicules her and makes her feel less than. Even though it's a very sisterly, childish thing, it still has an effect on Arya. Sansa was pretty and perfect, and Sansa was everything that Arya wasn't. Sansa made sure to remind Arya often of how embarrassing she was, and there was a resentment there. But at the end of the day, Arya loves her sister. However, she loved her brothers more, especially Jon, mainly because she could relate to them more. Sansa is more Tully, but Arya is a true Northerner. She doesn't identify with anything Southern. So pulling Arya from the North and throwing her down there in King's Landing was like taking a fish and trying to make it climb a tree. It was easy for Sansa to adapt at King's Landing, but it wasn't for Arya. Arya arrived to King's Landing harboring unimaginable guilt and dealing with shit. And keep in mind, she's 9 years old. She feels responsible for Lady's death. She feels responsible for the Butcher's Boy's death. And she has lost her wolf companion, Nymeria. She feels guilty about driving Nymeria away. She's been ripped away from everything that she knew. Everything in her world has changed. She was confused and questioned everything she had ever thought. This was the first time they had supped with the men since arriving in King's Landing. Arya hated it. She hated the sounds of their voices now, the way they laughed, the stories they told. They'd been her friends. She felt safe around them, but now she knew that was a lie. They'd let the queen kill Lady. That was horrible enough. But then the Hound found Micah. Gene Poole had told Arya that he'd cut him up in so many pieces that they'd given him back to the butcher in a bag, and at first the poor man had thought it was a pig they'd slaughtered. And no one had raised a voice or drawn a blade or anything. Not Harwin, who always talked so bold, or Alan, who was going to be a knight, or Jory, who was captain of the guard. Not even her father. On the King's Road to King's Landing, things are unfolding, and Arya is starting to question everything that she ever knew, everything that she ever believed. She's just traumatized. Things start to get a little better for her once she starts to train with Syrio, but it's not long after that that her father is attacked by Jaime, King Robert dies, Ned's taken into custody. When Ned's taken into custody, Arya escapes. But mind you, she is 9 years old. Ned doesn't just get taken into custody either. There's a whole northern wipeout. All the people Arya was raised around, Septa Mordane, Vanpool, Fat Tom, all of them are killed. And Syrio Forel, another man that had been her sanctuary in this strange place, was killed as well. And this 9-year-old child manages to escape and has to stab a stable boy in his belly and kill him to get away. She has to witness unimaginable things. Hullen, who had been master of horse at Winterfell as long as Arya could remember, was slumped on the ground by the stable door. He had been stabbed so many times it looked as if his tunic was patterned with scarlet flowers. Arya was certain he was dead, but when she crept closer, his eyes opened. "Arya Underfoot," he whispered. Not only has she witnessed the death of Syrio and all of her father's household, she's alone trying to survive in Flea Bottom, only to arrive at the Sept of Baelor later to see her father beheaded and to see her sister standing beside the king and queen screaming. Over everything, she could hear her sister screaming. She is 9 years old. She's taken away by Yoren and makes friends with Lami and Hot Pie and Gendry. She's been promised to be taken home to Winterfell, but that never happens. She's surrounded by death. She has to fight to survive. Killing becomes a part of her survival. Yoren is killed, Lami is killed, she is captured at Harrenhal, where she is subject to beatings. She becomes basically a slave that has to scrub steps and run errands for ungrateful bastards. She schemes and kills to survive. Everything she does only to go home. She wants nothing more than her mother, her brothers, her sister, and her home, Winterfell. She's a loyal northerner. Arya is the one responsible for breaking the Hold the Lannisters' head on Harrenhal. Truly. She used her last name and made Jaqen free the Northmen in the cells, earning her favor with Roose Bolton, and then she would become his servant before escaping, only to eventually be taken by the Brotherhood without banners. They didn't technically mistreat her, but they weren't good company either, and they only really took her to sell her. They were killers at heart. So was her next captor, the Hound, who also wanted to sell her. She got so close to being reunited with her mother and Robb, only to have the Red Wedding break out before her eyes. Death surrounds her. Killers are everywhere. That's all that she knows. Every mentor she's ever had was a killer.
Stannis is a killer. The Lannisters are killers. Your father was a killer. Your brother is a killer. Your sons will be killers someday. The world is built by killers.
Jaqen, the Hound, Thoros, Beric, Jon, her father, Syrio, everyone killers. So what do you expect from her? Dressmaking? No, she's a killer. She's a product of her environment. Is she consumed with vengeance? Yes, she is. Are the lines blurred sometimes? Yes, they are. But she's a child. Right now, she's 11. Every person on her kill list has a good reason to be there in her eyes. They've taken things from her that can never be replaced. Not just people, but pieces of her. Those people on her list have made her what she is. She sought out the many-faced god not truly because she wanted to be an assassin, but because she had nowhere to go. She wanted to go to Eastwatch, but she boarded a ship to Braavos, and when she got there, she has nowhere to go. No food to eat, nothing, no one. She found her place amongst killers. But throughout her training, throughout everything, she never forgot her family, her sister, who she was. In Braavos, at the House of Black and White, there are candles, and these candles are to calm you. They make you smell the things you love most, the things that bring you comfort. When you smell our candles burning, what does it make you think of, my child? Winterfell, she might have said. I smell snow and smoke and pine needles. I smell the stables. I smell Hodor laughing and Jon and Robb battling in the yard and Sansa singing about some stupid lady fair. I smell the crypts where the Stone Kings sit. I smell hot bread baking. I smell the godswood. I smell my wolf. I smell her fur, almost as if she were still beside me. I don't smell anything, she said, to see what he would say. You lie. he said. But you may keep your secrets if you wish, Arya of House Stark. Do you understand now why she's the way she is? Everything that brought her comfort, everything that made her what she is gone. Everyone that was supposed to protect her is dead or presumed dead. Everyone she loves, she thinks are dead. And she's a child that wants the ones who hurt her to pay. People have made the argument that Arya is too far gone and she's just simply a homicidal maniac, a wild animal, but she isn't. She doesn't kill for sport or without purpose. She doesn't kill the Thin Man. She doesn't want to kill Lady Crane. She kills only those who have wronged her and the ones that she loves. And everything she loves lies within a sword in more ways than one. She stood on the end of the dock, pale and goose-fleshed and shivering in the fog. In her hand, Needle seemed to whisper to her. "Stick them with the pointy end," it said. "And don't tell Sansa. Micken's mark was on the blade. It's just a sword. If she needed a sword, there were 100 under the temple. Needle was too small to be a proper sword. It was hardly more than a toy. She'd been a stupid little girl when Jon had made it for her. It's just a sword," she said, out loud this time. But it wasn't. Needle was Robb and Bran and Rickon, her mother and her father, even Sansa. Needle was Winterfell's gray walls and the laughter of its people. Needle was the summer snows, old Nan's stories, the heart tree with its red leaves and scary face, the warm, earthy smell of the glass gardens, the sound of the north wind rattling the shutters of her room. Needle was Jon Snow's smile. He used to mess her hair and call me little sister. She remembered, and suddenly there were tears in her eyes. Polliver had stolen the sword from her when the Mountain's men took her captive, but when she and the Hound walked into the inn at the crossroads, there it was. The gods wanted me to have it. Not the seven, nor him of many faces, but her father's gods, the old gods of the north. The many-faced god can have the rest, she thought, but he can't have this. Hopefully now you have a better understanding of why Arya is the way that she is. She's not a maniac or a psychopath. She's a traumatized child that was raised by killers. What are your opinions on Arya? I feel she's very misunderstood, and she's my favorite female character in the story. Who's your favorite, and who would you like me to do the next misunderstood video on? As always, thanks for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Please click that subscribe button and hit that notification bell and join the Sweet Summer family. Okay, my sweet summer children, have a good day.